Welcome back to Deano's Garage. If you've not seen much from Deano's Garage before, there are over 50 videos now. Please subscribe. Just click down here and subscribe to my channel, and you can look back really on 5 years now with various bikes that I've sorted out, and you'll get some tips and helpful stuff from a lot of those videos. Now, if you've been with my channel for a while and sort of fairly up to date, you will know that I recently had an XJR 1300. I actually got rid of that bike. Main reason being that I didn't be able to ride that bike really. I wasn't able to ride it, should I say, for much more than sort of 20 miles or so. The vibration started to cause a problem with my thumb and finger on this right hand, the throttle hand. I looked into it. A lot of motorcyclists have this trouble with that, sort of white finger type issue from the vibration of a inline 4-cylinder bike. And I tried a few things. I changed the bars, put some lead shot into the bars, changed the foam grip, did various things. But anyway, cut a long story short, that bike went. I then bought a BMW K1200R in the hope that that would actually be a different bike and less of a problem, and it was slightly, but the vibes were still there, just in a different part of the rev range, and still caused me a bit of issue in my hand. So I thought, what bike did I have that never caused me any issues? What was the bike that I enjoyed riding the most, or enjoyed riding, that I always enjoyed riding, that wasn't uncomfortable in some way? Because I've had some great bikes over the last 5 years, and you'll see from all my videos that you watch that there's been a whole array of nice bikes there, some real classics. But the problem with the vibration, what was a bike that I never had that problem? And it was actually the Vn900. Let's have a quick look at that bike now. So yeah, that Vn900 was a great bike. It was a nice project and I really enjoyed riding it. Should never got rid of that bike, to be honest. I should have kept it, but you wouldn't have had all the other things and all the other bikes if I had kept it. So this leads up to today. So what have I bought most recently? Got rid of the BMW. This, if you can see it, is perhaps a little bit of a clue. But let's have a look at the latest addition to Deano's Garage and what I'm going to be working on. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully I am going to get to enjoy this bike towards the end of summer. It is now sort of getting on to mid-September. Weather is still lovely, still warm. So hopefully this isn't going to be too much work, but let's take a look at what I've just purchased, and we'll talk through it as we go. Let's have a look now. Now this, as you may already have seen, is in fact a Vn900, the Kawasaki Vn900 Custom. The bike is actually done, you can't see it actually on here because it's normally digital. It's done about 8,800 miles, I believe, and you would not believe it to look at it. Let's look at it a bit more up close. We'll walk about together and see why this bike is different from the average Vn900 Custom. Let's have a look now. So basically the bike has been sat for a long time. If you look here, you can sort of make out all of the cobwebs on the bike. The disc is a bit rusty. Got some lovely Vance and Hines pipes here. Yep, but these are a little bit faded, let's say. Not too corroded, but faded. The swing arm and bits here are getting a bit rusty. Not so bothered about this sort of thing. This is just where the saddle bars hang on to. Not bothered about them, but getting into here, the swing arm. So yeah, rather than being bright and polished and shiny, you can begin to see, I mean, it's not too bad. Let's look up here, because this is where you normally see a lot of rust, and you can begin to see up here, this area's rusty. Now I don't think this has done a lot of miles in bad weather, it's just that the bike has sat, you know, in all conditions outside the front of this guy's house, so you can see this sort of thing is beginning to be rusty. Nowhere near as bad as the Vn900 that I had before, which came from Scotland and was ridden through Scottish weather. So yeah, a little bit rusty under here. You can see, you know, in here there's bits of grass and cobweb and all sorts. These lovely wheels should be all shiny and lovely, and you can see that they're sort of miscoloured and not looking too clever. Forks look good. Fork seals leaking, that's a bit annoying. He didn't mention that, of course. You can see where it's been sat in the weather, that actual dust cover, if you can see that, that's a bit cracked. Yeah, that fork seal's a little bit leaky. There's a little bit of pitting up the top here, so all it needs really is for someone to push this bike up and down a bit with those little bits of pitting up here through the seal, and it's going to damage the seal. So I don't know if you can make it out, but there is some pitting on them stanchions, but that will, the worst of that will just sort of polish off and flatten off, and it won't cause the seal to be damaged, but you've got to get it off first. Again, you know, rusty, you know, not too bad corrosion, but you can see in here in the engine the paint's beginning to sort of chalk up a bit. Luckily with this bike it is more black rather than chrome. Paint is just beginning to go there. Green under the tank here. Green all over this saddle. Normally you would see a different seat on these. I'm surprised that it's got this style seat, to be honest, because normally they have that seat that sort of sits nice and flat over the top of the rear fender. This is a bit more of a sort of comfort style seat. Always like to see a tax disc on a bike. I don't know, just kind of takes you back to older machines. Yeah, that was 2014, that tax disc, and for some reason he's just left it on there, don't know why. But yeah, it's not in too bad a shape, but as you can probably see from the cobwebs and, you know, bits stuck all over it, that it's going to need a little bit of Deano special TLC, and that's what we're going to do with this bike. Maybe I'll get a little bit of a opportunity this evening. It probably hasn't seen, well, we know it hasn't seen a sponge in hot water for probably a good year at least. So that's what I'm going to do first, is just give it a bit of a clean, get the auto sol out in a few places. Yeah, let's see first whether it even starts up, so bear with me. I'll just switch off the camera, get the keys out, and we'll see whether it starts up. 1 second. Right, now let's see if it does start. It does have an alarm system. Never sure whether that's on or off because it just flashes twice, but we'll see whether that alarm goes off. Flat battery. So, right, time to get washing. That's the rinse. Now let's get some soap on it. Turns out this Mustang seat isn't green after all. It's actually black. Mustang seat is off. Now we can actually get cleaning into what was underneath all of that. The tank, the fender, a bit of the frame. Let's get cleaning. There's actually some beautiful paint under here. Plastic. The old ones used to rust. New ones don't rust. That's not such a bad thing. Welcome back to Deano's garage for the Vn900 Custom. Now, we did give this a little wash just yesterday. Then unfortunately the light faded just at the point that we were beginning to sort of think about trying to start the bike. Then realised that the battery was flat. So I've charged the battery up overnight and during the day. So we're about to see now, does the bike start, does the bike run? Let's have a look.